So back on to subject here at hand. Dealing with the book of Enoch. So this one I'm not going to drag out too long. Everybody should know about Genesis 6, 7, 8, 9, and all the way up till 11. Let's just say Genesis 6, till 11, right? So this is going to be getting into the fragments of Noah. Excuse me. So we're gonna get into the fragments of Noah, and we're gonna start off here with the book of Methuselah and go into the Noah fragments and also the parables. And I will be, I guess I would be, completely done with this book here. So dealing with this whole thing, as we're told, in Luke, Mark, Matthew, book of John, right? Dealing with the end times also. Let me see. Being one of the signs of the end times, and speaking of end times, I'm gonna be doing, an update, because America, if you guys don't wake up, boy, is it gonna be a hard time for you guys. I'm not gonna be worried about nothing. Why? Because I already put this world to rest. So getting along here with today's topic of the book of Noah, and just giving you guys a preview of why we're talking about this, and getting it out of the book of Enoch, getting these parables here, right? So we're told Matthew, Luke, Mark, right? Where's Mark? Well, Matthew and Luke, right? As it was in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, as it was in the days of Noah. How are you to know what it was like in the days of Noah and in the days of Lot? Okay. Of course, everybody should know this story here. It's in the beginning of the Bible, in Genesis, right? So as I stated before, just go to your Bibles, read Genesis, read, Genesis 6 all the way through to 11. And we get to 12, and that's where this whole thing here is covering. Of course, this PDF is not secure. But anyway, it says here, in the book of Methuselah, and the reason why we're going into this, right? Because we already did this in Genesis 5, dealing with the generations of Adam, right? We know Enoch, right? Where is he at? We know Enoch was the son of Jared, verse 18, right? And Jared, Enoch begot Methuselah, right? And then after that, God took Enoch, right? Then we got Methuselah here, verse 25. Let me blow this up. Sorry about that. I keep forgetting that I gotta blow this stuff up. So back to what I was saying. Okay. We know Enoch son of Jared, right? You know, Enoch had a son named Methuselah, right? So Enoch walked with God 300 years and begat sons and daughters, and then God took him, you know, right here. God took him. Just giving you a little breakdown of what I'm going to be going into. Okay, this is why I'm starting off with the book of Methuselah and the book of Enoch. So Methuselah lived 187 years, and he had a son named Lamech, right? So we got this clear breakdown of, this whole thing. Methuselah was 969 years before he died, and Lamech was 182 years. And he called his son's name Noah. Okay. And then it says, so Lamech is the father of Noah here. Okay. So this is why in the book of Enoch, right? And then it talks about Noah was 500 years old. Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth, right? This is Genesis 5, right? Going to Genesis 10, you find out who Ham, Shem, and Japheth, who their sons and their descendants were, and who they were classified as. Okay. So I'll just give you a complete breakdown. That's why I say from Genesis 6, or basically Genesis 5, all the way to 11 is basically this whole story plot here. So the reason why I'm doing this is because, once again, Matthew, dealing with the end times here, says, but as it was in the days of Noah, so shall also be coming. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days before the flood, they were, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and giving marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So we have a clear understanding that, people are going to be doing exactly these things here: eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, basically carrying on like business as usual, just like it was in the days of Noah. And they knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also be the coming of the Son of Man. Ain't nobody gonna know that he's on the scene when he comes back. They're gonna be caught off guard, right? So that's basically what this is saying. So figuring out what was going on in the days of Noah, right? That's why I'm going into the book of Methuselah. I just went into this. If you want to know why, Genesis 5 gives you this whole complete breakdown who was whose child and all this stuff, right? So go to Genesis 5, break out your Bible, read Genesis 5. Once again, for all the new people, break out your Bible and read Genesis 5, and then all the way up till 11. And then you'll see what exactly is going on and how this book here fits in with scripture. So let me just do something real quick. All right, so let me do something really quick. Just give me a second. I don't know if anybody's watching on Facebook, but I'm gonna put another one out. I don't know if anybody's don't need that going. So just give me a second. It's gonna be kind of laggy for a little bit. All right, so got that. Let me turn that off. All right, so back. All right, so getting into this book here, as I stated in the very beginning here, one last time for all the new joiners, you know, get your Bible and go to Genesis 5 and understand why I'm reading the book of Methuselah, why I'm going to go from Methuselah and it's going to be talking about Lamech, and it's going to talk about Lamech, and it's going to go to Noah. And then from Noah, he's going to give you the parables, right? And the parables is dealing with, everything after Genesis, basically after Genesis 11, right? How that whole mix up happened and all that stuff. And then on top of that, getting into, you know, um, the parable of the animals, which was, the nations of the world and all that stuff. But you'll get clear understanding when you read that. Tomorrow I will be doing probably, let me see what time that's going to be real quick before I say anything. Let me just see what time this is going to be tomorrow. I believe it's going to be at 10:30 in the morning. Yeah, it's 10:30 in the morning tomorrow. So tomorrow, 10:30 in the morning. No, I haven't read all 3 books of Enoch. Still trying to find the other 2, but it's kind of hard to find the other 2. Being with they're taking everything out and all that stuff. But just giving people a little breakdown here of how we're in their last days and what happened in those days, right? So you said just like in the days of Noah, it's going to be like our days. So that's probably my main focus here. And I also know there's other 2 books. There's the other 2 books of Enoch. Not the Enoch from Seth's line, but the Enoch from Cain, or who is that? Cain's line or whatever. Anyway, it's a complete breakdown of there's 2 Enochs in the Bible. One from Shem, or not Shem, but one from Jared and one from Seth or whatever. You got an Enoch from Jared, you got an Enoch from Seth. And let me just show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So I believe it should be, yep. Well, actually, no. Yeah. All right. So yeah, Seth was basically the great grandfather, just to give you guys an understanding of that. Okay. Seth, and then you had another Enoch that was from Cain or whatever. I remember it was 2 Enochs. One came from Cain, and that Enoch was the one that the so-called elites or the occult practiced that Enochian magic from. But this is the Enoch that walked with God. This is the one that was taken up without seeing death. So it says here, after those days, my son Methuselah took a wife, and for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. And his body was white like snow, and was red like the flower of a rose. And the hair of his head was white like wool. His eyes were beautiful, and when he opened his eyes, he made the whole house bright like the sun, so that the whole house was exceptionally bright. And when he was taken from the hand of the midwife, he opened his mouth and spoke to the Lord of righteousness. Well, we know that this is the Most High, so I'm just going to say the Most High, right? And his father Lamech, this is talk about Noah. I just went into this, dealing with this here, going into the whole thing about, Enoch, being born of Jared, right? Enoch had a son named Methuselah. For you guys, this is just now joining, or it's probably just now, whatever. So Methuselah, and then you got Lamech, right? Lamech right here in verse 25. And then Lamech begat a son named Noah. Okay, so that's the whole breakdown, the whole bloodline, the whole genealogy, basically, right? So Lamech was afraid of him and fled and went to his father Methuselah. So this is giving us a story about what happened with them, dealing with, what Noah's purpose was. Everybody knows what his purpose was, but still some other stuff that's left out. Probably might help somebody get some understanding about this. And he said unto him, I have begotten a strange son. He is not like a man, but is like the children of the angels of heaven, of a different type, and not like us. His eyes were like the rays of the sun, and the rays of the sun. His face glorious. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels. And I'm afraid that something extraordinary may be done on the earth in his days. So let's talk about Noah, talking about the flood, talk about basically he didn't look like, Lamech was afraid. He didn't know that his son, Noah, didn't look like a regular human, put it that way. I mean, like, how when Moses, in the time of the Exodus, later on down the line, when Moses, when it said, Moses would put a veil over his face, and then when he went to go speak with the Most High, he would take the veil off, and then when he would return to talk to the people, he would let the people see his face, that it was radiant, that he just got through talking with the Most High, and then after he would talk with the people, he would put his veil over his face again until he went to go talk to the Most High again. And every time when he came from talking with the Most High, he would take his veil, he would leave his veil off so that people would see that his face was radiant. So, this is kind of that thing, but only Noah was born with that, radiant face like that. So that's why Lamech was afraid. He thought at that time, this is when the angels were mixing and mingling with men. That's why he was afraid that it was probably one of the children of the angels. And he says, now, my father, I'm entreating you and petitioning you, go to our father Enoch and learn from him the truth, for his dwelling is with the angels. And when Methuselah heard the words of his son, he came to me at the ends of the earth, right? At the ends of the earth. Once again, there are ends to this earth, right? So again, it's even mentioned over and over in the Bible. You guys are going to run into it. When you read your whole chapters, you'll see many times in your own Bible, King James Version, ESV, in New King James, it doesn't matter which one you look at, it's going to say ends to the earth, okay? For he had heard that I was there, Antarctica. That's why, again, that's why I pulled up. As a matter of fact, let me see something. Let me just deviate real quick because I want to see something real quick. I want to, do a little test run on something real quick. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen with this. And I'm going to bring up something else because I got these coordinates here dealing with this old encyclopedia. And I so happen to write them down. And I want to see on Google Earth where these coordinates lead to if I could get to the exact location of where these coordinates lead to, because let me see if I could get what is that? It was a 1920s. We'll just go here. So let's see here. Let's search. Let's see if we could find this word here. Oh, wait, let's just go to, this is what they did. So I'm going to put in go to Antarctica here. I'm going to show you guys something. If they still got it, then we could see something here. Okay, Antarctica, fifth in the size among the world's continents. Its landmass is almost wholly covered by a vast, what? Get off of here. By a vast ice sheet, right? A sheet of ice, right? So it gives you this picture here. Once again, but let's see here. See what Britannica says. So I'm trying to find this. So it says something about the South Pole. Which reaches toward the southern tip of South. So it's 600 miles from South America. Okay, Antarctica. East and West Antarctica are separated by approximately 12,000 miles. 2,100 miles. Okay, 2,100 miles separated, right? 7 million cubits. These numbers are totally ridiculous, right? I want to see if they got that thing on here, what I'm looking for. I think it's here in the scientific thing. Joe Bides, blah, 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 blah. Okay, East Antarctica, icebergs. I think I'm getting there. Just give me a second. Ha! Here it is. I think it is here. Here it is. Okay. So, guys, check this out. Let me get my pen real quick. I'm about to write this down, right? Well, I'm about to show you something, right? I'm about to show you guys something on Google Earth. Where my pen? All right. So I'm going to read this for you guys, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. So these guys admit that there are boundaries, right? There's a cutoff point, right? There's the ends to the earth in Antarctica. This is why they got all those military bases down there. And I'm going to show you how many military bases they got down there. And it's the whole reason why they got all this stuff down there. And it's always along the coastline because the coastline is the ice wall. There is nothing else past that, okay? When you go past that, it elevates up. And then you run into the firmament, right? Like Richard E. Byrd and went into that hole down there, right? So it says here, the term Arctic region refers to all area, oceanic, island, and continental, lying in the cold Arctic climate. Where is these coordinates? All right, I got these coordinates too. So it's the south of Antarctica convergence, an important boundary, right? Boundary, right here. Pay attention to these words they're using, boundary, right? 55 degrees south, right? 55 degrees south with little seasonal variability, where warm subtropical waters meet with and mix with cold polar waters. So see polar, also polar ecosystem, show you that stuff there. So then it says here the Antarctic Treaty. And I'm gonna show you guys, they got all their flags still down there: Russia, China, America, Britain, all of them, right? All the nations. The arbitrary boundary of latitude 60 degrees south, right? So 60 degrees south. Watch this. When I go to Google Earth. So, which lies south of which lies the Antarctic Treaty area. Okay, so 60 degrees south is why they made this treaty here. It's Antarctic Treaty. The familiar map boundaries of the continent known as Antarctica, defined as the South Polar landmass and its non-floating ground ice, are subjected to change with current and future climate change. So they say climate change is not. So let's see here. Physical geography. I'm trying to see if they got that whole reference to the dome there, right? I tried to look it up in the 1920s version because that's where it is. And you can't find it in all the modern day versions because they took it out. They're going to push a lie, right? So it gives you all this stuff, all this, the Antarctic Treaty, right? Telling you all about that. So I believe they did take it out. Let's see. Talks about all right, so that's relief. Let me see. All right, so I think it's here. Yep. Yeah, it's right here. All right, so this is it right here. So it says here, ice-scarred volcanoes many still active. Western Ellsworth Island, marine birdland. Let me write these places down too, because you can't really find them down there unless you actually type them in. So I know where Victoria Land is, and Scotia Arc is. Rossland, I know what that is. I haven't heard of Rubus. Oh, Mount. And then you got Marie Birdland. Right? Marie Bird. Right? Bird, like Richard E. Bird. Right? Guy that went down there. So, says right here. Let me see. Because in the book of Enoch, I probably might have to read that as well. It talks about these places that's reserved for the angels, and it very much does mention these volcanoes there. Deception Island. Let's get that. Let's see where Deception Island is, right? I haven't seen that yet. Find it very, very fascinating. They have a little spot called Deception Island there. Let's look at that as well. So I'm trying to find this. So they talk about the coldest temperature and all this garbage here. I want to find, where is that reference to the 90 degrees east? because that's on one of the okay, so they talk about Mount Erebus is there. All right. And still talk about, okay, so here's a map here. And they still got it on this ball earth model. Right. So hey, let's see. Because this is where Enoch was taken, they say. So you got Wilkesland. I went there before. Let's just go there. We're gonna do that. Let me see. 80 degrees east and all like that. So they talk about surface readily loses heat, energy into space or whatever. So let's talk about this point. Yeah, they got a whole bunch of trash here, really, giving you all this temperature. And I mean, trying to see when you hear words like this, listen to this. Okay. Oops. I'm not even sharing my screen, am I? Hold on, wait a minute. Could have swore I was sharing my screen, was I not? Anyway. Wow. Anyway, this is what I'm talking about here. You know, I don't know what happened to my screen share. I'm looking down and it says stop sharing screen, but my screen is not even sharing while sharing. So anyway, I don't know what happened there. So automatic geophysical observatories. I don't know why they put that there. Why don't they just say observations on a higher polar plateau, right? What is a plateau, right? So it talks about this whole thing here. Talks about the glaciers and the seas, a bunch of garbage still. I'm trying to get to the part to where, look at this, okay? Again, but trying to get to the part where they say they ran into the dome, right? But of course, it's not in the modern day Britannicas, as I hear. I'm just trying to see if I can find it. I supposedly typed in the 1920s one where they got it, but who knows if they got rid of it there. Okay, so anyway, based off what I got wrote down from this dude that was reading it, showing, 100%, as a matter of fact, instead of scrolling through this here, let me just show you guys the video I'm talking about. Show you guys, this guy got an old Britannica. I'm just showing this for the purposes of, because when I show you guys what I'm going to show you next, dealing with when they talking about mapping it out, how they found where the firmament is, or at least, the lowest part of it. It's in the Britannica, but they took it out. So we'll get in that. I know a lot of people think it's totally ridiculous that the earth is flat, right? But one got to take into account, how did God flood the whole earth out? How did the flood waters reach up to heaven? Right? It says that in the Bible. The flood waters reached as high as heaven. Right? How does that work on a ball? I mean, I'm just, there's just questions there. Okay, so let's get into this here. I didn't want to go to the whole channel. I wanted to get the video. All right, so blow this up real quick. I'm not gonna have the sound. Well, I'm gonna turn the sound on in a minute. Okay. Once again, I told people, about Warner von Braun and how he got Psalms 19:1 on his tombstone. But again, nobody wants to look at these things, right? He's telling you. Okay, so let me go. I just want the guy that's reading the encyclopedia. I mean, if you guys want to see all the proof there, you go and look. Here it is right here. Okay. I'm going to play it right here.
Except you repent. As Jesus said, Luke 13:3-5, except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish. Jesus didn't come to save the righteous, but sinners, that they'd come to repentance.
Okay, you guys remember how I showed you the maps that were here on Earth before 1958, before the governments took them out? Now I'm going to show you the Encyclopedia Britannicas in the public libraries before 1958. Here's volume 2 out of the alphabet A. And we're going to flip to the Antarctica, and this is from 1958, as you can see. Now, we're going to flip to the Antarctica and see what the Encyclopedia Britannica from 1958, before the Antarctic Treaty, says is there. Now, you won't find this in the new encyclopedias because the government's banned them. But what I want you to notice right here is, notice how it says the flights proved inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Take a really, really close look at that. Now I'm going to zoom it in for you. When they returned to New Zealand, these flights proved the inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, let me show you with an image of what a flat earth map would look like. Now, this is what a latitude 80 degrees south would look like on a flat earth map. As you can see, the dome comes.
So there you have that, right? And this is in the Britannica. They took it out. But then they say, oh, you flat earthers are conspiracy theorists. Remember, I showed you guys that flat earth card. People laugh, but the flat earthers know something. It's biblical. That's what it is, But people say that, the Bible don't teach that, right? But let me stop. Let me stop sharing this real quick, right? And let me just show you. Let's go to, Google Earth, right? Let's punch in those longitude and latitude codes and see where it takes us. You'll be amazed that it takes you right on over to Antarctica, and close to the middle, right? And I'm going to show you what's over there. As soon as I get this Google Earth up. Because again, right, they're lying to us. We should want to know if they're lying to us or not, right? I mean, I don't like being lied to. Other people might accept that, but I don't. Right. When I find out I'm being lied to, I expose them. I expose liars. So let's go here so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing here. The Nimrod hut. Right. Guys, type up Nimrod hut in Google Earth. Have some fun there. Let's see. What is this? how do I do the coordinates? So let's just do 80. Trying to find out how I did this the last time. It's a way I did it. I didn't search it. I was just able to put the coordinates in, but let me see here. No. All right, let's see. So then you start, like, I started finding little weird stuff like this right here. Like, what the heck is this? Like, okay. Then you got stuff like this right here, right? Let me just show you guys what. Okay, where's let me just know. Trying to get to 80 degrees south. East would be this way. I don't want. Come on. Oh, see now that. Why is it? You see how I want it? Look, this is what I'm talking about right here. This part. This part with this little, ring right here. You can't tap on this part, anywhere to go, no coordinate, right? But as soon as you go over here, all right, let's see how far that goes, right? Okay, so let me see. Trying to get to that 80. Wait a minute. That's how I did it. Okay, let me see here. All right, so that's not how I did it. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out how I did this. All right, for the most part. Okay, so somewhere around this part in the 80 degree, marker, 80 degrees. Let me just see. Because this thing don't have a degree tab on here. Let me see. Yeah, this one don't got a degree tab on here. So let me just see something. Let me see something. See if I can find it like this. All right, so oh, look. Wow. Wow. Hey, get a load of this. Oh, this is gold. This is gold right here. Let me just share this screen real quick. This is gold. Look at this. ICE-SAT gsfc.nasa.gov. And it says here, I'm going to blow this up. It says right here, where is the best site on Earth? Domes A, B, C, and D. Now, look, this is what I'm trying to get to right here, right? So, where's the best site on Earth? Let's look at this. It says Dome A, B, C, F, and ridges A and B. Okay. It's just talking about in Antarctica, right? So it says the Antarctic Plateau contains the best sites on Earth for many forms of astronomy. Oh, well, what do you know? Because they know that's where the luminaries rest, because that's what it says in the book of Enoch. But none of the existing bases was selected with astronomy as the primary motive. In this paper, we try to systematically compare the merits of potential observatory sites. We include South Pole domes A, C, and F, and also Ridge B, running northeast from Dome A, and what we call Ridge A. Where's a ridge? I mean, come on, man. Ridge. Let's look at the red. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is definitely going to get logged in for my flat earth debate. This is going to be gold. Ridge, right? A narrow, long hilltop mountain range or watershed, right? Marked with no form or narrow raised bands, right? So the ridge, right? You also got other ones, right? It's also an edge, right? Meteorology, you know, raise up, a raised strip of, let's see here. Let's look at the other words, right? Geography, architecture, meteorology, farming, medieval history. Oh, but it says here, there are domes, right? They're measuring the dome, okay? And it says here, Ridge A running southwest from Dome A. Our analysis combines satellite data, published results in atmospheric models, and compare the boundary layer, weather, aurora, air glow, perceptible, water vapor, thermal sky emission, surface temperature, and the free atmosphere. Let's see. At each site. We find that all Antarctic sites are likely to be compromised for optical work by airglow and aurora. Of these sites with existing bases, Dome A is easily the best overall, but we find that Ridge A offers an even better site. We also find that Dome F is a remarkably good site. Dome C is less good as a thermal infrared or terahertz site, but would be able to take advantage of a predicted hole over Antarctic during spring. Then gets into the introductions here. Boundary layer of thickness, cloud cover, right? You're talking about all this stuff in this PDF. See, I told you it's all in the center. See, it's in that where that circle is. You see this, right? It's right there. Look, I'm going to show you on the map. I'm going to show you on the map. Look, it's right there where that circle is. Just they showing you on the map. You can go back to Google Earth. So again, here we go on Google Earth, right? This is where Enoch was more likely taken, right? When the Most High took him. Because in the book of Jared, says he was taken to a land filled with snow and ice, right? I'll bring that up in a minute. Okay, so it's right here. This is where they pointing at, where this whole thing is, right? And I showed somebody this, how they got this little Pac-Man, little Pac-Man thing going on. And when you go all the way in, it's like super bright, right? And you go along here and you see this line here, right? It's this line here. And it just spans on, right? So, you just keep going and this line just keeps going. It's this line right here. You see it. It just goes all on and on and on. It's like they took the boundaries and pasted it together on a ball, right? We already know Rob Simmons said that it's Photoshop, but it has to be, right? So again, exactly where they're showing you, right? They got bases over here and bases all along the coastlines, right? But when it comes to the middle, they can't go to the middle, right? Because they know what's right there. So they talk about infrared. See, look, northeast from Dome A, right? Figure 2 shows you where the dome is, right? South Pole, 90 degrees south, latitude 0 degrees east, right? Dome A, 80 degrees, 80.37 degrees south, 775.58 degrees east. Elevation 4,083, right? And Ridge A is a little bit under that, right? And they say those are Dome A and Ridge A are the two best sites, right? I guess that's the highest point you get, right? That's where you find the firmament, right? The dome and the ridge, the edge, the end, right? So again, here you go. They're showing you on the map, right? Right here in the center where I was showing you where that circle is. They even mapped it out. They show you all the weather patterns going on down there. And they give you all the coordinates, right? They know what's going on. They're lying, right? And then they stick it on the ball, right? I mean, how big is Antarctica, really? I mean, does it really take up most of the ball? I mean, come on now. Just because we've been taught this our whole life don't mean anything. Look at this. Measuring stuff. Air glow. That's what they're measuring. Air glow and all that. They probably found the windows to heaven down there, right? And put the satellites in the firmament, right? So it could float above in the water, right? Maybe that's how they're faking space. Anyway, let's get off here. Let's get back into what this. Oops, I just took it down. All right, let's get off this. Go back into Enoch. But let me get in the book of Jared, right? Book of Jared. I just want to show you guys where it says that. Noah's voyage from America. Book of Mormon, of course. They'll say Noah was in America. Let's see. They don't have a, let me see. Just see if they got a book of Jared. Because if they do got a Book of Jared PDF, I'm going to go into that as well. Yeah, they do. See here. Oh, actually, it's the Book of Jasher. I'm sorry. Book of Jasher. This is taking too long to load. All right, so Land of Snow and Ice. The reason why I'm getting into this here, the Book of Jasher, chapter 3. Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after having begat Methuselah and served the Lord and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of the Lord in knowledge and understanding. And he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many years. And it was at the expiration of many years, while he was serving the Lord and praying before him in his house, that an angel of the Lord called him to him from heaven, and said, "Here I am." And he said, "Rise, go forth from thy house and from the place which thou doest hide thyself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that thou mayest teach them the way in which they should go, and work which they must accomplish, to enter the ways of God." Enoch rose up according to the word of the Lord and went up from his house, and he gave instruction. So it says here, chamber. And when he went to the sons of men and taught them the ways of the Lord, and at that time assembled the sons of men and acquainted them with the instructions of the Lord, and he ordered to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, "Where is the man who wishes to know the ways of the Lord? Let him come to Enoch." Sons of men were sent. Uh, 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 talks about Lamech. He was 56 years old. Lamech was 56 years old when Adam died. Uh, what's going on with my okay, so something's going on with my connection. All right. Anyway, let's just go on before they shut me down. Anyway, and Enoch ordered, okay, and all the sons of men assembled, and Enoch and came to Enoch that day, and all the kings of the earth right there. And then Enoch taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instruction, and bade them serve the Lord and walk in his ways all the days of their lives. And he continued to make peace among them. And it was after this he rose up and rode upon the horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him one day's journey. And the second day he said to them, return home to your tents. Why will ye go? Perhaps you may die. And some of you went, and some of them went from him, and those that remained with him the 6 days journey. And Enoch said to them every day, remain in your return to your tents, lest you may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day, some of the men remained and clung to him, and they said, we will go with thee to the place where thou goest, and as the Lord liveth, death only shall separate us. So they were saying, we ain't leaving you until we die. So, back then, seems like back then, Enoch was pretty much, he was pretty much well known, and people wanted to hear from Enoch, which would describe why they took this out, and the book of Jasher and the book of Jared. So it's a lot of books they took out, right? So it says, and they urged so much to go with him, and they ceased speaking with them, and they went after him and would not return. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of remaining men that were with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind with horses and chariots of fire. And on the 8th day, all the kings that had been with Enoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch in the place which, in that place from which he ascended to heaven. And all the kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow, right? So here it is, verse 38. And all the kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow. And upon the snow were large stones of snow, and said one to another, come, let us break through the snow and see, perhaps the men that remain with Enoch are dead and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched, but could not find them, for he had ascended into heaven. So Enoch was taken from Antarctica, right? And they know what's over there. So let's get back in here. I just want to bring that out, right? And the book of Jared talks about where Enoch was taken from, a land filled with snow and ice, and large stones of snow, like the ice wall. Let me just get back to the book of Enoch real quick. Get that up, and let me just show you guys exactly, what Enoch was, where he was taken from. Let's go here. Okay. I asked, somebody to play this video before, but again, flat earth is just totally ridiculous, right? Although they knew the earth was flat. This is the land of ice that Enoch was taken to, Antarctica, the ice wall, right? Land filled with snow and ice and large stones of ice. Says in the book of Jared, right? I guess they didn't know what they were talking about back then. They were just speaking poetically back then, right? No, they were speaking very literal, right? So you get this whole thing here, Okay, that's where Enoch was taken. So back into this whole topic, so it says here, now my father, I entreat you and petition you to go to our father Enoch and learn from him the truth, for his dwellings with the angels, right? The end of the earth, right? That's where it says it right here, end of the earth, right? But again, you'll have a lot of people that'll leave because, this is their souls being convicted, because this whole time they bashed this whole flat earth. They call it nonsense, right? They bashed it their whole life, right? But then when it comes out that the truth is coming out, right? People like us don't seem so crazy no more. This is all biblical, right? That's why I said you don't need science to tell you how God created the earth. Read his words. He tells you clearly how he made the earth. And it's all, it's seen for what it is, flat, no curvature here. But again, everybody's imagination tells them they see a curve. There's no curve to be measured. And when Methuselah heard the words of his son, he came to me at the ends of the earth. For he had heard that I was there, and he cried out. And I heard his voice and went to him. And I said to him, behold, I am here, my son, for you have come to me. And he answered me and said, because of a great matter I have come to you, and because of a disturbing vision have I come near. And now hear, my father, for a child has been born to you, my son Lamech, has been born to my son Lamech, and whose form and type are not like the type of man. His color is whiter than snow and redder than the flower of a rose. And the hair of his head is whiter than white wool, and his eyes are like the rays of the sun. And when he opened his eyes, he made the whole house bright. And he was taken from the hand of the midwife, and he opened his mouth and blessed the Lord of heaven. And his father Lamech was afraid and fled to me, and he does not believe he is sprung from him, but thinks him to be from the angels of heaven. And behold, I've come to you so that you may make known to me the truth. And I, Enoch, answered and said to him, the Lord will do new things on the earth, and this I have already seen in a vision and made known to you. For in the generation of my father Jared, right? In the book of Jared, it talks about a lot of the end times and dealing with a lot about the giants and what they were doing in them days, and why God had, the Israelites wipe out those giant clans, right? The Canaanites and all of them. Some from the heights of heaven transgress the word of the Lord, and behold, they commit sin and transgress the law, and have been promiscuous with women and commit sin with them, and they have married some of them and have begotten children by them. And there will be a great destruction over the whole earth. So let's just talk about the flood. And there will be a deluge, and there will be a great destruction for 1 year. But this child who has been born to you will be left on the earth, and his 3 sons will be saved with him. When all the men who are on the earth die, he and his sons will be saved. So this is talking about the days of Noah. And they will beget on the earth giants, not of spirit, but of flesh. And there will be great wrath on the earth, and the earth will be cleansed of all corruption. And now go make known to your son Lamech that the one who has been born is truly his son, and call his name Noah, for he will be a remnant for you, and he and his sons will be saved from the destruction which is coming on the earth because of all the sin and all the iniquity which will be committed on the earth in his days. So again, the Most High does not change. So if it was like that in the days of Noah, and he said there's going to be wickedness on this earth in the last days, well, Look at what happened in the days of Noah. What did he do back then? He flooded the whole earth out. But he made a covenant with Noah, right? Genesis 10, or actually Genesis 9, right? Genesis 8 or 9, when he put his rainbow in the sky and he said he wasn't going to flood the earth out again. Now, he did make a promise that he wasn't going to flood the earth out, but he didn't say he wasn't going to come back and burn it down. And that's what's happening on this second go around. You know, all things are going to get purged by the fire. Okay. But after this, there will be a yet greater iniquity in our time, right? Yet greater iniquity than that which was committed on the earth before. For I know the mystery of the holy ones, for the Lord showed them to me and made them known to me, and I read them on the tablets of heaven, in the tablets of heaven, and I saw written on them that generation upon generation will do wrong, until a generation of righteousness shall rise, and wrongdoing shall be destroyed, and sin shall depart from the earth, and everything good shall come upon it. And now go, my son, now my sons, go and make known to your son Lamech that this child that has been born is truly his son, and this is no lie. And when Methuselah heard the words from his father Enoch, for he showed him everything which is in secret, he returned, having seen him, and called the name of the child Noah, for he will comfort the earth after all the destruction. So this is talking about, you know, basically this is the fragments of Noah, book of Noah fragments. In those days, Noah saw the earth had tilted and that its destruction was near. And he set off from there and went to the ends of the earth and cried out to his great grandfather Enoch. And Noah said 3 times in a bare voice, hear me, hear me, hear me. And he said to him, tell me, what is it that is being done on the earth, that the earth is so afflicted and shaken, lest I be destroyed with it. And immediately there was a great disturbance in the earth, and a voice was heard from heaven, and I fell upon my face. And my great grandfather Enoch came and stood by me and said, why you cry out to me with such a bitter crying and weeping? And a command has gone out from the Lord against those who dwell on the ground, dry ground, that this must be their end, for they have learned all the secrets of the angels and all wrongdoing of all the Satans, right? So here it says, when I say Satan is a title, it is because he says, in all the wrongdoings of the Satans, right? You know, Azazel and all those guys, right? And all their secret power and all the power of those who practice magic arts and the powerful enchantment, the power of enchantments and the power of those who cast molten images, all for all the earth. And further, how silver is produced from the dust of the earth, and how soft metal occurs on the earth. For lead and tin are not produced from the earth like the former. There is a spring which produces them, and an angel stands in it, and that angel distributes them. And after this, my great grandfather Enoch took hold of me with his hands and raised me and said, go, for I have asked the Lord of spirits about the disturbance on the earth. He said to me, because of their iniquity, their judgment has been complete, and they will no longer be counted before me because of the sorceries they have searched out and learned. The earth and those who dwell upon it will be destroyed, and for these there will be no place of refuge forever, for they showed to them what is secret, and they have been condemned. But not so for you, my son, for the Lord's spirits know that you are pure and innocent of this reproach concerning the secrets. And he has established your name among the holy, and will keep you from amongst those who dwell upon the dry ground. And he has destined your offspring in righteousness to be kings, and for great honors. And from your offspring will flow out a spring of righteous and of the righteous and holy without number forever. And after this, he showed me an angel of punishment, who were ready to come and be released all the forces of the water, which is under the earth, in order to bring judgment and destruction on all those who reside and dwell upon the dry ground. And the Lord's spirits commanded the angel who were coming out, not to raise their hands, but to keep watch, for those angels were in charge of those forces, or the forces of the waters. And I came out before Enoch, and in those days the word of the Lord came to me, and he said to me, Noah, behold, your lot has come up before me, a lot without reproach, a lot with love and uprightness. Okay. And now the angels are making a wooden structure, and when the angels come out from that task, I will put my hand on it and keep it safe, and a change shall take place so that the dry ground may not remain empty. And I will establish your offspring before me forever and ever, and will scatter those who dwell with you over the face of dry ground, and I will not again put them to the test on the face of the earth. But they will be blessed and increase on the dry ground in the name of the Lord, and they will shut up those angels who showed iniquity in that burning valley, which my great-grandfather Enoch had shown me on the previous night in the west, near the mountains of the gold and silver and iron and soft metal and tin. And I saw that valley in which there was a great disturbance and a heaviness, heaving of the waters. And when all this happened from a fiery molten metal and the disturbance which disturbs the water in that place, the smell of sulfur was produced, and it was associated with those waters. So let's talk about obviously a volcano there. And that valley of angels who led men astray burns under the ground. So this is talking about Antarctica. If you guys remember, they had a news story talking about the ice beneath Antarctica is heating up, right? Let's get this news article. For those that don't believe me, right? The ice below Antarctica is heating up. I believe it was in 2018. A study suggests that radioactive rocks and hot water underneath East Antarctica are melting the continent's ice formations from the bottom up, right? From the bottom up. So it says here, and the valley of those angels who led men astray burns under the ground. So that's how you do, tell where this stuff is happening, right? And through the valley of that same area flows out a river of fire where those angels will be punished who led men astray on the dry ground. And in those days, the waters will serve the kings and the mighty and the exalted and those who dwell upon the dry ground for the healing of the soul and the body, but also for the punishment of the spirit. And their spirits are so full of lust and that they will be punished in their bodies, for they denied the Lord of spirits, and they see their punishment every day, yet they do not believe in his name. And the more their bodies are burnt, the more a change will come over their spirits forever and ever. For no man can speak an idle word in front of the Lord of spirits, for judgment will come up upon them, for they believe in the lust of their bodies, but deny the Lord of spirits. And those same waters will undergo a change in those days, when those angels are punished in those days, the temperatures of those springs of water will change. And when the angels come up, the water of the springs will be changed and become cold. And I heard the holy Michael answering, saying, this judgment with which the angels are judged is a testimony for the kings and the mighty who possess the dry ground. So again, I tell people a lot, it's going to be the leaders of the world and your army men that are going to get the worst punishment. Well, mainly the leaders of the nations are going to get the worst punishment because they're the ones carrying out said deceptions, right? They're the ones influencing mankind to continue in their sins, right? They ain't telling nobody there is not a righteous king upon this earth. Let me check the chat real quick. Flat Earth raises, let me see here. Yeah, cool. Flat Earth raises a lot of other questions. Flat Earth, no debate. Hello, not another housewife. No debate, only lies to discern and exposed turned me into a conspiracy theorist. LOL. Anyone want to buy some used tinfoil hats? Good one, dude. Good one. I'll give it to you. That was a good one. Going to be nice to meet those old boys in person. I don't know about you. Wonder if Noah had albinism. I don't know. But, clearly, we know that Noah, knows a special kind of breed, right? Okay, so it says here, let's continue. I probably might finish this off because I need to get up early tomorrow. And this is the last chapter, by the way. I'm going to do I don't have to do the book of the parables. This is just talking about the angels, how they mixed with man and giants, and how they produced all these different bloodlines. That's what the animals were symbolized as, and that's what I already talked about, dealing with that stuff. But I probably might do that on another tip. I want to get ready for tomorrow's topic, dealing with these end times, because boy, it's a lot of touchy subjects that are going on right now. We got Trump dealing with these nuclear codes. He still has a hold on them. Trump also said, he's creating his new campaign, or his new party called the Patriot Party or whatever, right? So he said he'll be back in some other form, right? So be on the lookout for the return of Donald Trump. And as I stated, second beast prophecies. I said he ain't went nowhere until he fulfilled his prophecy. And if you want to hear that, you can go back to my first beast, second beast prophecy, dealing with Revelation 13, how Obama was the first beast, Donald Trump is the second, right? Also, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, the whole chapter, right? Strong delusion being sent, right? Knowing Trump, he did play that strong delusion because he did put a lot of truthers to sleep. He did do that. Put a lot of Christians to sleep too. The Christians that were waking up to the flat earth, he put them right back to sleep with Space Force. Oh my gosh, President Trump's so amazing. Give me a break. He's just like the rest. Talk about drain a swamp. How you drain a swamp when you're part of it? What are you going to do? Drain yourself? Like Trump seen with Epstein, right? Trump and Epstein's black book, right? Crossed the name out though. Anyway, just a little fun facts there for you guys. I heard the Holy Michael answering, this judgment with which the angels are judged is a testimony for the kings of the mighty who possess the dry ground. For these waters of judgment serve for the healing of the bodies of the kings, for the lust of their bodies, but they do not see and do not believe that these waters will change and will become a fire which burns forever. After this, my great-grandfather Enoch gave me an explanation of all the secrets in a book and the parables that he had that had been given to him, and he put them together for me in the words of the book of parables. So that's the next chapter here. Oh, excuse me. Oh man, so tired lately. I've been going to bed at like 8 every night, so that's why I be trying to do these lives early in the morning instead of late at night. But for the most part, that's just a fragment of Noah, and I'm not trying to have this drag out for more than an hour and 30 minutes anyway. But yeah. So back then, what was going on in the days of Noah? Same things that's going on now, right? You got CRISPR, gene editing, designer babies, right? Same thing that was going on in the days of Noah, genetic tampering, right? Let me bring this up as well, because people, let me see. All right, so dealing with the giants as well. In Isaiah chapter 13, guys, another prophecy dealing with the end times, which, you know, Isaiah 13 dealing with these end times as well. I don't think we're going to see this anytime soon, but I think we're very much close. And I think that, you know, anybody that gets this, you know, CVS is basically going to be a hybrid. Of course, you got people dropping dead from the CVS. I'm not talking about, you know, the bug, I'm talking about the thing that's supposed to get rid of the bug, right? So take that, you know, into account. So remember, there are two Babylons, right? There's Mystery Babylon and there's Ancient Babylon. This Babylon here deals with our time. This Babylon, America, Babylon the Great. So it says, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. Okay, so you see this version here. Well, when you get into into a translation that you could probably understand will be the, you know, New King James Version. Look what the New King James Version says here. Okay, or any other version, right? ESV, all the other versions, right? Talks about the giants coming back to fulfill his wrath, right? Let me just get this ESV, right? Because everybody loves these translations here. All right, let me just go into the Hebrew concordance then, because that's where actually I've seen this. So before I end this, I want to show you guys this here before I do end this here. So let's go into the Hebrew concordance and go into Isaiah 13. Let's go into Isaiah 13, verse 3. Mighty ones, right? Gabor, right? And it says here, mighty men, strong, valiant ones, mightiness, man, valiant, strong man, upright man, champion, chief, excel, giant, right? Strong man, brave man, mighty man, strong, mighty. By implication, a warrior, tyrant, powerful, mighty man, mighty one, valiant man, a giant, right? So talk about mighty kings and stuff. Gaborim, it's also giant. You know, when he, in this sense, let's see here, giant, used one time, and it goes into Job. He breaketh me with breach upon breach, turneth me up like a giant, like a mighty man. But, you know, dealing with here, he talks about, he's called his mighty ones, sanctified ones, right? His Kadesh, right? Sanctified, hallowed, dedicated, prepared, anointed, dead, purified. His set apart, right? To be set apart, to be consecrated, show oneself sacred or majestic, to be honored, treated as sacred, to be holy, right? So you get these definitions here. So, you know, in many other translations, he talks about bringing the giants back for his wrath, right? And I'm wondering that if, but the mud fossils, most of that stuff is like they try and tie that in with, oh, these are dinosaurs that were back then. No, these are the same creatures that were here since the beginning of time. They just say that, oh, they evolved. These are this is an ancient fish. No, all this stuff, think about this. When they find in all these so-called fossils or all these animals that they say don't exist, they really them animals that's way down in the deep of the sea, right? You know how you got them fish that got that little glowing thing on their head. They use it as lure to attract their prey. Well, those fish ain't gonna be seen until you reach a certain depth underneath the sea, right? Like we're told that it is a sea monster called Leviathan, right? A Leviathan, a large serpent that roams down there at the bottom of the sea, at the deepest depth of the sea. So again, I believe that the Bible is very literal when it speaks of things like that, just like when it describes the angels and such. So that said, I'm not going to drag this live on. I didn't want to go past the 1:30 marker anyway. So I'm going to be doing a live tomorrow, 10 in the morning, 10:30 in the morning, talk about this, talk about end time stuff, getting to read some news articles, read a couple of scriptures, and, probably might have some people come on if they got questions or if you want to talk about some stuff going on in your area. I know that the United States right now is being hit hard with judgment. We got snowfall at record amounts. Sonoma County in the Bay Area, it said that Sonoma County is going to snow. Well, that's a first because it never snows below 13,000 feet. And that's where they said snowfall is going to happen. Usually it's above the 20,000 foot range. So like I told people, many people will be confounded on the day that it snows in Southern California. They're never going to say that, that song down there, it never rains in Southern California, right? They're going to say, the day it snowed in Southern California, right? That'll be a sight to see. But anyway, hope everybody remain blessed and, always watch because we are in these end days and there's a lot of deception going on. We got the globe earth deception. We got the COVID deception, right? We got the, presidential deceptions, right? We got the alien deception that's coming. So it's a whole lot of deceptions and, the devil's working full force. So that said, shalom, and, Ephesians 6, everybody put the armor on.